Welcome to In Between the Lines, where nothing is out of bounds and adversity is an opportunity to adjust and overcome. We're your hosts, Sevon Williams, my brother Joe Ham. How you doing today, brother?
Outstanding, brother. I am doing outstanding. Let's go. I mean, let's chop it up. You're talking about a football lover's heaven. This is what this weekend is going to all be about. Starting on Thursday, college football semifinals. Friday, college football semifinal. Saturday, wild card playoff. Sunday, wild card playoff. And then you top it off Monday with the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Texans, Houston Texans. So football heaven for myself, man. Looking forward to seeing a lot of good coaching and a lot of good strategy. At this point, Vaughn, I'm all into the science of football. I mean, why are you running this play? Why are you calling this defense? Why did this work? I mean, just the strategy. I'm into it, and I'm looking forward to it, man. How you feeling?
I'm fantastic. As you stated in the playoffs, whether it's college football or NFL, everything is magnified. Coaches'
Yes.
decisions magnified. We're gonna talk about college football, the last week playoff, and maybe some of the decisions that was made in regards to Kirby Smart and his fourth down decision making. And if that was in the regular season, maybe somebody would forget about it. But the fact that I still remember it as of now, and I'm sure some other players it's some other fans that's feeling like, what was Kirby thinking going for that? Like you said, everything is just intensified, and it's the best of the best right now. So let's dive right into it. First off, we must speak about, as we continue to speak about, how Shedur's been playing. So he finished the season, nevertheless, 2-0 by beating the great Aaron Rodgers, as well as finishing the season off with a game-winning drive against Joe Burrow. Joe, what's your thoughts on how Shedeur finished the season, and what does this mean? Is it momentum going into the offseason, being that his last drive was a game-winning drive?
I love the fact, Vaughn, that he has a resume now. He has film work. He's on film. He's on film that he can go back and he can self-scout. He can look. He can be in the room with a quarterback's coach. He can be in the room with a offensive coordinator and go through every single play that he's been a part of his rookie year with the Cleveland Browns. Whether it's a handoff, whether it's a check at the line of scrimmage, interception, touchdown, incomplete pass. He wants to go. You want to go back and watch every single play. Actually, call the huddle. Watch the play diagram at the bottom to where you know what play, the play that is called, and you watch it. Now, Kevin Stefanski, he's not going to be in the building. It's probably going to be a different head coach, different philosophy, different offense that he has to learn. But Shedeur Sanders can learn. His aptitude is through the roof in terms of football knowledge. And you said it, a game-winning drive. You're down, or you have the ball last, and have a walk-off the way he did, or the way they did the Cleveland Browns. That's what I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Football, the record goes to the head coach, and the record goes to the quarterback in terms of keeping overall record, and he's won his last two games. Myles Garrett is the best player on that team. Myles Garrett got the sack record, rightfully so. He's probably the best player in the whole National Football League as far as being unstoppable. But Shedeur Sanders has to be pleased with how he ended his rookie season. And now the question is, who do you get in to coach the Cleveland Browns? And moreover, the bigger question is, does that guy have Shedeur Sanders on his mind as far as building a team around him?
Well, a few things that you said. Yes, Myles Garrett is the best player in the league. And the reason I say that is, if you think about it, how horrible Cleveland's offense has been all year. For a defense end, most time they want to be playing with the lead so they can pin their ears back and sack the quarterback. He been playing from behind and still been pinning his ears back and finding ways to sack the quarterback, even though they've been losing. So it hasn't necessarily been pass first on the other end. And then even when they beat Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't able to get a sack. But as you can see, he was disrupting the game, and Aaron Rodgers was trying to get the ball out of his hands so quickly. And then if I told you that Shedeur 5th-round draft pick was going to be Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow to finish the season, what would you say?
That's a great feat. That's something to be very, very proud of. But you're gonna have to compartmentalize it, Vaughn. You're gonna have to. This is where Shadur Sanders is so polarizing. His name brings a decision because the naysayer is going to look at who did he beat. I mean, this late in the season, whoop-de-doo. His fans are going to say, yeah, he did beat those two limited stats because he didn't put up glowing numbers in either game. He wasn't the reason why Cleveland won the last two games, but you can't discredit who said hut and who was the quarterback. We don't do it with any other quarterback. We don't separate the team from the quarterback or the defense from the quarterback. We don't say they won in spite of the quarterback. So we have to give him his credit, but they're going to need a team around him. Did he do enough? I would say he had done enough for Kevin Stefanski, but he's gone. How's the GM, Mr. Barry, going to think about Shedeur Sanders when he drafted? How's he going to think about Dylan Gabriel, who he drafted in the 3rd round? I tell you what I would do, Vaughn. I would go into next season with Deshaun Watson still on my roster because it's going to be hard to trade that contract. It's going to be Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson battling for the number 1 spot, and Dylan Gabriel still on the roster. So those are 3 quarterbacks I would have on my roster if I'm the Cleveland Browns going into next year.
Well, just to state, Shadur should get some credit because without that game-winning drive to end, they wouldn't win by a game-winning field goal against Cincinnati.
Yeah, but I'm talking about magic. Everybody's looking for magic. What did he do so much that, should be
He's not going to
clamoring?
have those rookie to 360 yards of passing offense like he did against Tennessee. But he did that in a losing effort. So would you rather have that?
No, because what I told you, I'm trying to tell you time and time again, to me is no more. You bringing it up, and rightfully so. It's good, but I'm not evaluating Shedeur Sanders wins and losses. So even the ones where he threw for 300 and lost, the Raiders game where he won, it's about him individually for me. If he had lost those last 2 games against the Steelers and against the Bengals, I'm still saying so what, because it's not about winning because he's on a bad team. It's about how he's handling the huddle, how he's going about with his mechanics. Does he belong? And those are things I'm looking at, because if I hang my hat on wins and losses, then it's hard to evaluate him individually. And I think that's why that's what the next coach is going to do with Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. They're going to, despite the wins, they're going to play scenario type situation football. When they were in the game, how did they produce? How did they handle the huddle? And how did they make people better around them?
Well, I'll just say this. Shedur's last drive this NFL season resulted in a game-winning field goal. That's it. That's all. I don't think Dylan Gabriel got him one of those yet.
Yeah, but see, you comparing like with angst. Just watch the quarterback develop, man.
But that's why I don't. We seen Dylan Gabriel couldn't throw the ball down the field. We seen that he had enough games to at least throw a 25-yard pass down the field, and he didn't.
That's not his game. That's not his game. That's not his game.
Well, we'll see. We want to move on, just like Cleveland is moving on from Kevin Stefanski. It's just been breaking news that Stefanski is gone, but let's hear what the Browns owner had to say in place of what's been going on in Cleveland throughout these last 2 seasons.
Win 8 games in 2 years is horrible. It's totally unacceptable, okay? And it's not going to continue, okay? And I want the fans to know we are as frustrated as you are.
Well, with those thoughts, Joe, what's your reaction to Jim Haslam saying pretty much what I've been saying?
Well, he's frustrated, Ron. He's frustrated because Kevin Stefanski didn't bring home what he was asked to bring home. He went to the playoffs twice, 2-time Coach of the Year, 1 playoff win. But at some point in time, you're going to have to prove your side of the ball why I hired you. Your strength can't be the weakness of the football team. Kevin Stefanski is an offensive guy. He's going to draw up some things in the dirt. He got hired because leading teams to high scoring offenses, to being able to have a quarterback play above his head. And when you look at the Cleveland Browns the last few years, they have not been able to get it done offensively. So that's on him. Where's your offense? Where's your staple? Where's your bread and butter, Stefanski? So at the end of the day, if you're a defensive-led team by a offensively minded coach, and you hadn't gotten it right in a long time, especially the quarterback thus far, yeah, we won't have to let you go. And I still think the way you started off this season, where you want to bring the GM into play if you want to, but the Flacco, the Pickett, the Dylan Gabriel trial and error, all to eventually get down to the best quarterback on your roster, in my opinion, which was Shedeur Sanders. Somebody botched that. And normally, the head coach is going to have to answer. And I'm surprised that the GM still kept his job. But Stefanski botched it from the quarterback decision early on to not winning games and having his offense be the reason why you're not winning games.
Well, I do believe the reason that the general manager kept his job is the Browns didn't have a bad draft. If you look at Fannin, nice young talent at tight end. The D tackle they got from Michigan's been balling this year. I think his name was Graham. He had a pretty good year. Then obviously Judkins, before he got hurt, he's rolling. We even seen Isaiah Bond catch a couple passes late on in the season with Shedeur. It seemed like the offense was non-existent before Shedeur came, and I don't know if it was just some of that perfect timing or some of that magic, that Sanders magic that came, but somehow the Browns was able to have a little life towards the end of the season. Not glaring stats, nothing that's going to blow your mind, but they can at least get the ball down the field when need be. I think the Browns could have they finished with 5 wins? Because Shedeur
not that much, huh?
Shedeur got 4 wins, right?
No, Shedeur only got 3 wins.
But finished
the Raiders in the last 2.
So he 3-4.
Yeah, the Raiders are in the last 2.
So that means they finished with 5 wins total because Dylan Gabriel had 1 win and Joe Flacco got 1 win. So they finished with 5 wins and easily could have had 7 wins. If we talking about Tennessee, where that came down to game 2-point conversion, which we still don't understand what happened with that. And what was the other game? They got blew out by Chicago. That wasn't even close. No chance against the 49ers. No, they won the last 2. So, no, that's right. So, 6 or 7 wins. Still a losing season. Nevertheless, we've been asking for... I'm not going to say... When I say we, I say me and my people. Shout out to my boy Roy. He been asking for Stefanski to get fired since October. Everybody in Buff Nation been saying it's been time, but now we get what we asking for. Let's just ask that the Browns now make a good decision. And if you don't want to make a decision to say, hey, Shedeur's not our guy, let the man go. Or don't even let him go. Trade him for somewhere. It's a lot of places that need a quarterback, and hopefully he gonna shown enough to say he at least deserve a shot. We're not saying he got to be the franchise quarterback somewhere else. But if you're not going to believe in him and try and build around him, send the man elsewhere.
Yeah, but there's still no trade out there that you can trade that somebody's going to, trade for Shedeur Sanders and say he's our guaranteed starter.
No, but he needs at least a shot with some weapons.
Well, you just said Joe Barry's done a good job drafting. I mean,
but that still don't mean he got weapons. I just said the tight end. I said Judkins.
That's why I don't understand why he stayed, because that roster's not stacked. And it brings me to a question, or it brings me to a discussion when this time of year comes, which was, yesterday was Monday, and in the NFL they call that Black Monday. Which one of these head coaching jobs, vacancies, that John Harbaugh is going to get attached to? Which one is more enticing? What do you look for when you look for a job? If you're a head coach that just got fired, or you're a head coach looking for a new job, because the Titans, the Giants, the Falcons, Raiders, Cardinals, Browns, and Ravens, which one of those are you that would entice you to say that's the job I want to go? Because now not all future head coaching candidacies or candidates can predict their future or can say that I want to go here or pick their next move. John Harbaugh can.
No, he certainly should. But since you bring up the AFC North, let's talk about the showdown that was played Sunday night. And before we get into it, we recapped last week that the Ravens and Steelers was the regular season finale, and the AFC North title was on the line. We talked about how DK Metcalf was suspended, would not be playing. We also discussed, hey, what's going to be going on with Lamar Jackson? Is he going to play? Is TJ Watt going to play? But one thing I want to show or display is this is what the last 3 seasons of Baltimore's the Baltimore Ravens, when I say the Ravens, just be Raven.
The Bombers, he dives, open house, Chicago and Kansas City. Did the ball come out before he wrote the play? I think you're right. This is all we can determine the whole game right here. Snead is up. Who is greatest at the highest level of entire season? Snead is the... Got it. Oh, shots! He made the two-point conversion on Sanders. Andrews did not hold on.
None of this is Jim Harbaugh's fault. Or John Harbaugh. This is what Coach Harbaugh had to deal with the last 3 seasons. And anytime you get a picture like this, you see 35 back here. Baltimore drove down the field, Joe. Shout out to Lamar Jackson. We wondered if he was going to play, if he was going to be a decoy. We said, obviously, half of Lamar is better than most players. And he showed up. Aaron Rodgers showed up. He still got a little bit left in the tank. He said, hey, man, y'all keep talking about Phillip Rivers. I'm going to tell you why they brought me here in Pittsburgh. And they found a way to win. And kicker struck again. Wide right.
Yeah. Kickers. You got to love them. And sometimes you got to hate them. Fabulous game. Fantastic way to end the 2025 football season in the NFL. Just fantastic. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised that the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to get that done without DK Metcalf. You alluded to Aaron Rodgers playing lights out. Really good game plan for the Pittsburgh Steelers playing keep away. I don't think the Baltimore Ravens possessed the ball a lot at all. And Mike Tomlin, he had his boys ready to play. I mean, he outcoached or he won a game that their backs were against the wall and they came out on top. And the decision to bring Aaron Rodgers in helped them win the division and having them host a first round playoff game. And that's what they wanted. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, this must have been Super Bowl or bust coming from the GM. I think it's Eric DeCosta, coming from the owner, coming from the upper management, that no matter what, if we don't make it to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, we're going to have to make changes. That's the only reason I can see that after what happened with the Baltimore Ravens. One bad season in a long time. Although in Lamar Jackson's 8 seasons, it hadn't always panned out well. I think they only have 3 playoff wins. This move shocks me. This move is a move that I'm very, very surprised at, because this is just not a team that, can get and start fresh and new or bring in an up-and-coming coach that you're going to allow to have 1 or 2 years, 1 or 2 seasons to get it right. No, this next coach, he's going to have to come in and hit the ground running, because I think this is still a playoff contending, Super Bowl contending roster that the Baltimore Ravens have.
I would say either way you slice it, you got 2 MVP caliber players on offense with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. We haven't spoke much on Derrick Henry, but that first half he was dominating on the ground. But again, the Ravens, as we showed in the clip, they just find a way to Raven. Whether it's fumbling at the 1 yard line, when it counts most, whether it's dropping a pass. I mean, the more I see that replay, I forgot how Lamar tossed the ball. Now, it was frigid weather, and they gave Andrews. But think about this. If Tuck was there, that kick would have been made. And that should remind every athlete that it ain't just about what you do on the field, but what you doing off the field as well. Because his off the field activity got him off the field and ultimately got Baltimore falling for the loop.
That's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And it's a long season. It's a sad season to end it in the last game. And nobody can say from the Ravens that they played well. Somebody's going to have to be the scapegoat for this. Going to be the Super Bowl favorite. Not just want to by a lot of people, the favorite. I know they were my favorite because of the roster that they had. Not to make the playoffs. Injuries is a part of everybody's roster. I mean, look at San Francisco and Kyle Shanahan. They are depleted. And they fought and scratched to make the playoffs and really good chance of moving on in the wild card weekend. So injuries are no excuse at all. And somebody had to fall on the sword, and it looks like John Harbaugh is going to be that guy. And I'm not saying that I can defend it at all, but I am stunned.
Stunned, I think we all are, but nobody was more stunned than Lamar Jackson when they missed that kick. So, like you said, only one conference championship appearance in the last 8 years. John, just not enough. Moving on, in the coaching carousel, we had the Atlanta Falcons actually finish the season with, what was that, 4
straight wins.
Four straight wins. But nevertheless, it don't matter. Arthur Blank say he cleaning house regardless. As you can see, both the head coach as well as the general manager was fired. Joe, what's your thoughts on this? Any surprise that Arthur Blank pulled the plug?
No, not at all. The surprise was that Arthur Blank did not fall for the banana in the tailpipe. He did not fall for fool's gold. And I'm talking about the fact that they won 4 straight at the end. He looked at the whole body of work. He looked at the regular season. He looked at the totality of how things were mismanaged as far as time on the clock before halves and at the end of the game. When you look at the challenge management of the challenge flag, in general, the game plan. What does Raheem Morris do well? What does he do well? I mean, what does he? What's his MO? I've never seen it. I hadn't seen it in 2 years with Raheem Morris on the sideline. So, but the thing that surprised me a little bit is Terry Fontenot. When you look at Bijan Robinson, is a draft from him. You look at James Pierce this year and Walker from Georgia this year that he drafted. He had some really, really good drafts. Drake London. Kyle Pitts had an outstanding year, although he didn't live up to it the first few years of his contract. But this year, no doubt about it, he made him some money somewhere. But this is the perfect example, Vaughn, when you don't get the quarterback position right, for whatever the case may be, whether it be injuries with Achilles or coming off of an injury, whether it be the shoulder to Kirk Cousins, whether it be the ACL injury to Michael Penix Jr. that happened latter parts of the season. If you do not get it right and you pay a guy almost $200 million in Kirk Cousins or over $100 million coming off a knee injury or Achilles injury, and then you draft the guy 8th overall with injury history, okay, and then that doesn't pan out, somebody's going to have to pay for it. Somebody's going to have to pay for that. The head coach is going to have to go for wins and losses in 2 years and not making the playoffs in the 8 years collectively. And the GM's going to have to go this time because you messed up the most important position in sports, the quarterback position. You hadn't gotten that right, and I'm going to have to let you go because of it.
Well, I myself was saying at the beginning of the season that the Falcons should have took Penix and Kirk Cousins and traded for Shedeur to get some electricity back in Atlanta. However, they still looking for a quarterback. But I think Kirk Cousins gonna find his way earn himself another contract somewhere. somewhere. Maybe not in Atlanta. But
Well, be careful of what you said. A contract can be $500,000.
The quarterbacks ain't getting $500,000.
But what I'm saying, okay, yeah. So I just want to be very, very clear. His next contract, you talking about he's earned. Kirk Cousins' days of making over $30 million are over, in my opinion. No, he's not getting that type of contract. And because again, I don't think anybody's going to fall for that banana in the tailpipe those last 4 games and the last half of the season where he put up some good numbers, not great numbers, some decent numbers. They're not going to fall for that and say Kirk is our guy of 2 years ago before the Achilles injury. I don't think any GM is going to go that far to say Kirk Cousins is our savior.
So only Arthur Blank is that fool.
Well, that's why the GM had to go.
Yeah. Well, we got more in the coaching carousel that just took place. Going to the West Coast right now, we have to talk about the USC great, Seattle great, Las Vegas, please. Pete Carroll, they had to get him out of there. What's your thoughts on Pete Carroll at 74?
No brainer. I mean, it's just not much to discuss on this one. It would have shocked me more if he had retained his job. What impact did he make? I mean, Geno Smith tying his career to Geno Smith, thinking that Geno Smith was the savior of Rome. No, Geno Smith turned out to be a turnover machine. I did like Genty. He was tough, hard-nosed. I didn't realize that he can catch the ball out of the backfield the way he did. So you have a good draft pick there. But Brock Bowers, so you have a tight end. But you have to find a quarterback. You have to find pieces on the defense. Max Crosby is the only known guy that I know on that defense. And again, how much of the hiring of a new coach are you going to put in the hands of Tom Brady? You give him a percentage of ownership for a reason. You wanted his football acumen. You wanted his football IQ. You wanted his, just his touch on things. Let him have a big role in getting a new head coach in there. Somebody that can relate, somebody that can be a CEO, somebody that can just, build a culture. Because that's what you need around there. You just don't need a good coach. You need a coach that can establish a different culture around there. But there's no surprise that a 74-year-old Pete Carroll has been shown the door.
Yeah, well, the writing might have been on the wall when they got rid of Chip Kelly early on.
Well, he had to do something. I mean, first comes the coordinator before it comes your head. You have to make some changes forced by the ownership and upper management. And then if all those changes don't work or didn't pan out, then your head is the next head that's going to be falling.
And they still need a quarterback.
Yes.
Las Vegas Raiders was another one that passed up on Shedeur. But Mark Davis might have some up his sleeve, so we shall see. But I want to get into, because it was another game where playoff implications was on the line, and we just going to discuss briefly because this whole division stunk.
Right.
The NFC South. And so the teams at the bottom, we had the Falcons play the Saints, which the Falcons, we just said, finished with a win. And then above, we had Tampa playing Carolina. If Carolina won, they would have made the playoffs easily. But they ended up losing to Tampa. But because the Falcons won, Carolina backed their way into the playoffs. Now, Joe, this is something that I've been saying all along, and shout out to a lot of our listeners that's been engaging and saying like, well, if they didn't have division champions, or we would have been stopped watching. It makes sense because now even the sorry teams, their fans are still rooting. Or I'm not even going to say sorry teams. Even the teams without a winning record, they fans got something to look forward to. Right. I'm old school when it comes to we don't give out sixth place trophies. We don't celebrate for losing more games than we win. So how in the world do you get a home game in the playoffs? I mean, that's the rules are the rules. I disagree. You believe it is what it is.
Well, I believe it is what it is, Vaughn, because what does your title say? You can't get around what your talent says. And your talent says, your tag says NFC South champs. You played the record, NFC champs. You cannot take that away from the Carolina Panthers. And again, the schedules are not the same to where you want to put, say, Los Angeles Rams ahead of the Carolina Panthers. Although I think the Los Angeles Rams are a better team, I do think that they're going to go on the road this weekend and beat the Carolina Panthers on Saturday at 4:30. But that doesn't give them the right to say because you won your division with a worse record below 500 that we should be above you because we didn't play the same schedule. I agree that the division is not that good. The division was awful this year as a whole, but no, I don't agree with you that you should give that to somebody else that didn't play the same schedule you played.
Yeah, this is definitely not the Tampa Bay Bucks with John Lynch and Mike Allstott and you over there on the sidelines with sapping them. This is not the NFC South as it once was. Certainly been a down year. But do you believe, and I mean, you just gave one brief prediction, but I want to go ahead and get into these NFC, or not NFC, not just the NFC, but get into the NFL playoffs. What?
Well,
you said,
go ahead.
You said that even though the Carolina Panthers is at home, you got the Rams coming to win.
Yes, absolutely. I had the Rams coming to win, and Vaughn, I must say, I am very, very excited, intrigued about this year playoffs. I mean, the wild card weekend, the matchups, is no given. I don't see any team that can go out there and show up and just roll over or kick the ball off and don't play their best. I'll talk about Carolina real harshly about that division, but that's a solid defense. McMillan on the outside and Bryce Young. They play a fundamentally sound offense. It's hard for them to score sometimes when they turn over the ball, but that's a team that is up and down. I think they went their whole entire season of winning a game, losing a game, winning a game, losing a game, winning a game, losing a game. But I don't see any just lopsided games at all. I mean, when you look at what's going to be intriguing, the 3-6 matchup in the AFC with Buffalo's going to go down to Jacksonville and Duval. That's that Josh Allen. Can he be Superman? Put the team on his back and lead those guys to a Super Bowl run. Trevor Lawrence and a new head coach, brand new head coach, and Liam Cohen, where they defend their home turf, hosting a playoff game. That should be exciting. What are you talking about the 4-5 matchup? The 4-5 matchup in the AFC, that should be very, very interesting. The 4-5 matchup is going to be the the Houston Texans hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. C.J. Stroud, his third year in the National Football League, three playoff appearances, and that defense is lights out. Daniil Hunter, one in. Williams, what's his name? The number one pick or overall from Alabama years back. His name is missing me now, but he is a beast. Derek Stingley Jr. on the outside as a corner.
Mm-hmm.
So the Houston Texans, they are formidable. But again, that's home. That's Pittsburgh playing home. Mike Tomlin coach team. So it's going to be a doggone drag-out football game. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the NFC too, Vaughn, with the Eagles and the 49ers matching up on a 4-5 game. That should be very good. What about division foes in the Green Bay Packers going to have to go to the Chicago Bears? So it's lined up pretty good that I can't even pick the winner or the loser. But I'm there for it. I'm there for the whole entire thing. What about the the up-and-coming New England Patriots with Drake May hosting the San Diego Chargers and Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert? So all those games, we can pick a winner if you want, Vaughn, but I'm just looking forward to all of them, and hopefully all come down to the fourth quarter. We can get some really, really good football games.
Well, we can do like we did in college and pick who we got in the Super Bowl, or we can just do divisional round pick, or wild card pick.
Yeah, we don't want to have to put so much pressure on ourselves for being that right throughout. We don't know about injuries. We don't know about how that might pan out after the first week. So I think we just go this week and we re-rack it and go again the next
Next
week
week.
when the divisional round comes.
All right, who you like? We'll start from the bottom up. We got L.A. Chargers coming to New England. I like New England. It's gonna be cold. I don't have to say much. New England been looking good all year. I like New England.
Yeah, I like New England as well. They've been looking very good, and when you have to travel all the way from the West Coast, it doesn't bode well all the time. I know they've done it a lot. They should be used to it. They are professionals, but that's still a time change. That's still a get out, not sleeping in your own bed type of deal. I'm going with the Patriots as well.
We're gonna go right up from Duval, reporting in Duval, or you like Buffalo. Josh Allen gets it done for me. I'm going Buffalo. Advance.
Yeah, Megan, shout out to Megan. I talked about this one a little bit earlier. She's going with Buffalo as well. I'm not going to be able to do it. I've seen too many times this year that where it's a one-man gang with Josh Allen and that running game. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are too talented defensively. Trevor Lawrence is playing out of his mind as of late. ETN, Brian Thomas Jr. on the outside. I just think that's a team of destiny with the first-year head coach Liam Cohen. I don't see Buffalo. And Buffalo does not play well on the road at all. So I'm going to Jacksonville Jaguars. And it shouldn't be an upset, but a lot of people will call it an upset.
Chat, tell us what you think. Do you like Buffalo? We know you got Bills Mafia, and them fans down there in Duval been waiting for a playoff appearance. It's been a long time since Jalen Ramsey and was the running back from LSU, Leonard Fournette, was back there toting that thing. That's when the last time Jacksonville was actually good. So
right,
who y'all
Blake
like?
Bortles.
Blake Bortles was the quarterback. Absolutely. And like I said, I think New England is gonna take them. But then even moving up to the Monday night game, who do you like? Pittsburgh against Houston. I'm going Pittsburgh. I think I'm riding the wave. Mike Tomlin just got the big win. Aaron Rodgers showed some flashes without DK Metcalf.
That's right.
I think they find a way to at the very least, advance. I don't think they won this last game just to get put out this game. So I like Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers to advance.
A shout out to Mike Tomlin because what he did this season, Vaughn, he maximized the talent on this roster. But that's it. The buck stops here. This is all he can get out of this roster. And I would like to say that the Steelers playing home, Mike Tomlin, the name on the side of the helmet, the name on the front of the jersey can withstand that pass rush, that defense, number one ranked defense in the Houston Texans. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going with the Houston Texans to get after Aaron Rodgers like nobody's gotten after him before this year. They're going to be at his feet the entire game. And I think that defense of the Houston Texans that very rarely allows you more than 17 points, they're going to show up. Remember, this is a Houston Texans team that's been in the playoffs ever since C.J. Stroud has arrived and ever since D'Amico Ryans has arrived as well. So that's a team that's playoff ready. They've been in the fire. And I don't think they're going to be phased at all.
Jump into the NFC now, Joe. We're going to start from the top down. We already spoke on, we both agree, the Rams on the road. I can't go against Matthew Stafford. I don't care. I can't go against Matthew Stafford. I believe they should advance against Carolina.
Same here. Very quick. Rams, Stafford, MVP over the Carolina Panthers. Even though they're traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast, I think talent will overwhelm the Carolina Panthers. Although, weeks back, the Panthers beat the Rams, but the situation is a little bit different.
Absolutely.
Different money on the line, so to speak. Playoff money.
Can Brock Purdy go to Philly and upset the defending champs?
No, the 49ers will not be able to score enough. I respect the Philadelphia Eagles defense highly. They've been playing lights out. The 49ers, on the flip side, I don't think with the loss of Fred Warner, with the loss of Bosa, They don't have a pass rush. They do not have a linebacker that can tackle like Fred Warner was able to do. I don't think Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan's offense that's been on fire the last few weeks, not just this past week because it took a little L this past week, but they have been on fire since Brock Purdy came back from injury. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I got the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending champs, moving on to the divisional round.
Lastly, our night game, Sunday night. Like you say, division foes. It's an AFC North, an NFC North battle. Let's hope it's as good as that AFC North battle we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
Chicago, Green Bay. I'll go first. I like Chicago. I just think if Michael Parsons was playing, is that close, I would be leaning the other way to Green Bay. But Chicago at home, you talk about some fans that's been thirsty for a home playoff game.
Oh, man.
And Caleb Williams, man, I say that joker, that fingernail polish be throwing that ball. So regardless if it's in the cold or not, I like Chicago to get it done one way or another.
Normally you talk about, in a game like this, playing at the Windy City, you talk about the weather being a factor, home field advantage being a factor. But this opponent is the Green Bay Packers. And this opponent knows about the cold weather. This opponent has played in freezing temperatures before, so there's no advantage to the Bears there. I really trust Ben Johnson and what he's done with Caleb Williams, but I don't like them to beat the Green Bay Packers. I just don't. I have a Chicago Bears will not be able to stop those guys. Jordan Love is playing well. Christian Watson on the outside. Downhill running attack. I think that's going to be too much. And just the first year jitters, the first year appearance of Ben Johnson, first year head coach, and Caleb Williams, first year quarterback being in the playoffs is going to be a little bit too much to overcome in their first appearance in the playoff. Give me the Green Bay Packers.
Well, Joe, we going from playoff football, from the NFL to the college football playoffs.
Here we go.
We not going to discuss much how Indiana just rolled on Bama. Bama is still getting rolled up. They still fumbling somewhere the way Indiana destroyed them 38-3. Texas Tech still looking for their offense because they ain't show up neither. Or that Oregon defense was just that doggone good. Then, I must obviously speak on my Buckeyes. I feel like this was in regards to Miami been waiting since 20 years. They've been waiting 20 years for this game, or they was waiting 20 years for payback, and we got off the bus initially in the first half just like it was a regular game. We didn't have the same anticipation, same intensity. We didn't match what they came out with, and we tried to come back in the end. And that's all it was. Disappointing. However, we gonna regroup and we'll be back. Miami deserved it. Like I said, they came out looking like they've been waiting for this opportunity for 20 years, 20 plus years, and that's exactly what happened. They got their win. But the most shocking upset, as you picked Miami to win that game against Ohio State for sure, and we mentioned it was back and forth. The most shocking upset was Ole Miss beating UGA without Lane Kiffin for the Sugar Bowl. Joe, just speaking on those two games, what's your thoughts? Which one was more surprising for you? Of course, Ole Miss probably was more surprising, but those was the two games to watch if you didn't watch any games this weekend. What's your thoughts on that college football playoffs thus far? Just recapping from those previous games.
Yeah, Vaughn. Both games were surprising. None too much more surprising than the other. But I knew Miami against Ohio State, that was going to come down to just Carson Beck. Carson Beck did not win the game, but my goodness, he sure did not lose it. No turnovers by him. That gives that Miami Hurricanes team a chance to win. You know, when you unleash those defensive ends and unleash the secondary, and just that Julian Sayin and that offense for the Ohio State Buckeyes just couldn't find a rhythm. And when they did find their rhythm, it was a little bit too late. And that is the recipe. That's the time that Ryan Day goes and look back at it, and he says that Jeremiah Smith needs to have 25 targets. He had a great game. What more do you ask him to do? But you got to find some way to just force feed him and get the job done that way. But again, Miami is a team that made it up to number 2 in the nation during the regular season, so they are no slouch. When you talk about head-to-head, defense to defense, Miami's played top-notch opponents, and those guys, remember, the 2 games that they lost, Miami, Carson Beck threw 6 interceptions. So that's why I have so much riding on Carson Beck. So Miami, roll Hurricanes, and go ACC. The next game was so surprising, Vaughn, not because of the talent level, because Ole Miss is talented. Quarterback, the plethora of wide receivers, Lacey in the backfield, just that defense that's opportunistic. Defensive number 52, defensive lineman, getting to the quarterback. But to do that without the leader, the CEO in Lane Kiffin that's been there the last 3 years, to do that with a guy that's only coaching his second game in Pete Golden, to make some mistakes early and going for it in time management and not getting 3 points before the half. All those things go against, stay in that game and find a way down. And to have Coach Kirby Smart be out of character. Coach Kirby Smart went for it on 4th down with a fake punt, got it, which was a brilliant call. Remember, he went for that when they were down, up 2. They were up 21-19, but he just felt that momentum was slipping. And they went for it, that 4th down. And the next 4th down that they faced, he went for it on their own 28, maybe own 30-yard line. That's uncharacteristic of a Coach Kirby Smart coach team, only down 3 points. And I have to give credit to Ole Miss for that because they forced Coach Kirby Smart to make decisions that he doesn't normally make because of the offensive pressure, because of the inability to be able to get stops against the Ole Miss offense. So for Charlie Weiss Jr. to be able to have those play calls and be able to call that game plan, orchestrate that game plan without Lane Kiffin being on that sideline, very, very, very impressive. And I give them a very good shot to try or to beat Miami. And I think that's going to be a toss-up game between Ole Miss and Miami because that is talent all across the football field when you look at Miami versus Ole Miss.
Well, we might as well go ahead and predict our semifinals. Well, I'm not predicting. You already know I chose my squad, and we gonna lay where we at. But
you can start over now because you guys are gone.
I don't start over. When we done, we done. But you still in the run in regards to. I can say I don't care who wins it at this point. I just want close games. Both games should be good games. But it matters to me not who actually wins or advances. Ole Miss, of course, would be a great story without Lane Kiffin. And we've been hearing other things in regards to the coaches. Some coaches may not be making it this week. Then you got Miami. Can they get to the national championship and play at home? Talk about a city on fire. That'll be crazy. Indiana is just rolling. They gonna get rid of the term basketball school. And then you got the Oregon Ducks who just find their way. I had said before the playoffs started, I felt like Oregon, being the 5th seed, got the luckiest draw and the easiest way to at least be in the Final Four.
Okay.
And we done seen it.
That's okay. That doesn't mean anything, though, because that's why I kind of really like the 12-team format. Because you can have the luckiest draw all you want early, but eventually you're going to have to play a great team to win it all. Yeah. There's no way around it. They're going to have to play Indiana now, number 1 in the nation, and they're going to have to play either Miami or Ole Miss. That's going to be formidable. So they're freelancing and they're just pay cakewalk to the semifinal. If you want to say that, it's over. And I don't think, and I do not pick them to beat Indiana. I think Indiana is too physical up front defensively. Remember the last time they played the Oregon Ducks, although it was early October, I think October the 11th, they sacked Dante Moore 6 times. They had 8 tackles for loss, and they caused forced two interceptions. And I think the way that Oregon played last week, kind of flooded on offense, not having that go-to game, I think that's going to be a problem with Indiana. So I got Indiana going up against Miami. And like I said, we'll talk about it next week, but I have Miami actually pouring Gatorade or pouring Powerade on that is Mario Cristobal for the national championship.
One quick thing, and I thought these was two great facts or two interesting facts. All four coaches currently in the conference, in the college football playoffs, were former Nick Saban Bama assistants. And then you see the time frames or the years in which they was all assistants. It's all different years. This just talks about Nick Saban's greatness. And then all four starting quarterbacks are all from the transfer portal. Now, luckily, Carson Beck came from UGA, and now UGA just got put out by Trinidad Shambliss. Then we obviously know we got the Heisman winner against Moore. What's your thoughts?
Moore might be projected to be the number one overall pick by some people. I don't agree, especially the way he looked last week, but that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what's your thoughts in regards with which one is more surprising, the Bama assistants making the college football playoff or the recipe to getting deep in the playoffs looks like it might be hitting the transfer portal? Not to mention Will Howard last year. Will Howard also was a transfer quarterback, starting quarterback of Ohio State. So what's your thoughts on that, Joe?
Yeah, the last 5 Heisman winning quarterbacks have been, or last 4 at least, have been transfer portal guys. But I'm more impressed with Fernando Mendoza, Carson Beck, and Chambliss, and Trinidad Chambliss, Vaughn, because they are first-year guys on campus. They came and took over and learned the offense and was able to lead an offense and lead a group, lead a program to the conference college football playoff semifinal in just 1 year. You know how hard that is to come and learn the offense and come get acclimated with your teammates and fit in into the culture. That's not that easy, and be the man that gets all the glory and all the praise when they win, that everybody wants to talk to, and to be able to share that credit with your offensive line and your skill position players and the defense. That's not easy. So that is very, very impressive for those guys. And even the coaching tree of Nick Saban. That's not really surprising because Coach Saban knows how to evaluate talent, and he knows how to evaluate coaches that has talent that can coach. But all that means the transfer portal, NIL, and the coaching carousel, that more important now than ever, Vaughn, coaching matters. Because the playing field is a little bit level, the playing field is a little bit more equal that you can pay. But what are you going to do with those guys come on campus? What are you going to do when you pay a 4-star so many millions of dollars or so many thousands of dollars? Can you get him to perform at a high level? That is what these coaches are going to be challenged with doing now and going forward. Can you get the best out of these college young athletes or young adults that's already paid? Can you maximize their talents? And that's what I'm looking forward to in this semifinal playoff. The coaching. Everybody has talent at this point. How can you adjust to the adjustments, make game plans after halftime, and maximize your players' talents?
Well, one way of doing so is by keeping the talent that's on the team. And
that'll be one way, yes.
It's been a big announcement. Keywan Lacey, which I believe Lane Kiffin was thinking would possibly be following him to LSU. But he signed a return with the Ole Miss Rebels as they are still playing, as well as Trinidad Shambliss has put in a request to try and get an additional year. I believe, obviously, if Ole Miss run the table, Shambliss to say y'all can have a year, I'm headed to the NFL, because what's a better hotter way to get it done than
it's not that simple anymore, Vaughn. It might seem that simple, but it's just not that simple. Why? Because you normally would run off to the NFL, and you're normally correct with what you say. But I mean, he can make $3 million coming back to college. Ain't no rush to the NFL. Not unless they can guarantee him top 15, top or first round pick or second round pick. Why would you go? Remember, that was one of the biggest reasons Carson Beck came back outside of him not playing well at Georgia, he said, if I'm going to get drafted 3rd or 4th round, why do that? And I can go to Miami and make $3 million. I can make more at Miami than I can make getting drafted third and 4th round in the NFL. So he doesn't have to get up and leave. You know that Lacey and Trinidad Chambers, if they're going to go back to Ole Miss, they're going to be something in that kitty to upgrade, to increase their pay. So they're not going to play for the same amount they played for this year. So I don't think there's any rush, even though Trinidad Chambers were to have a run and win this national championship. But to your point, if he likes it out and he played the way he played against Georgia, and he's a projected top 5 pick, what's the reason for coming back?
None at all. But also, Yahoo Sports has a source. It says it's remaining unclear if 6 Ole Miss assistant coaches who signed with LSU will coach the Rebels for the semifinals this week against Miami. Many of them has been around the program. Expect some, not all, to officially join the LSU staff and move on. Now, I'm not sure if the running back coach has decided to come back for this week. This just goes to show that Lane Kiffin didn't expect for them to advance past Georgia as much as he may say he wanted them to.
Yeah.
It's some funny going on where what are you talking about? The coaches it might potentially be moving on rather than finish the job. You 2 games away from history, even though Lane Kiffin would not be away from that history. Do you think that Lane Kiffin want to see Ole Miss win a championship without him?
No, sir. Not at all. And Vaughn, it's just antics at this point. The coaches or assistants that is going to LSU and not going to be with Ole Miss, that's like the strength coach, assistant strength coach, or the assistant general manager or something like that. Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator, he said already that he's going to stay through the semifinal game, and if they make it on, the running backs coach is going to do the same thing. Who would miss out on that opportunity? And I'm telling you this, Vaughn, I would not be surprised if Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator, calls the plays this game, the semifinal game against Miami, and goes to win the national championship, whether it be against Indiana or Oregon, and decides to stay at Ole Miss. Because what would be the greener pastures to go to LSU at that point? And you're going to still be an offensive coordinator at LSU. Right. So you're telling me that you went through this whole entire season and you're an offensive coordinator that won a national championship at Ole Miss. You can go down in history. You're going to leave, go in conference to LSU that's trying to win a national championship. I don't know. I don't know that I wouldn't stay if I'm Charlie Weiss Jr., but it brought music to my ear that those guys are going to stick through the semifinals game, playoff game, and it would be a no-brainer. Competitive. What are you going to be doing at LSU while your friends and some of the guys that you recruited at Ole Miss go compete for a national championship? It doesn't make any sense.
Rightfully so.
And not unless Lane Kiffin said you can't do it. And I wouldn't put that by him.
It's a lot going on in this playoffs because if Ole Miss runs the table, we just named a lot of head coaching NFL positions that may be open. So maybe he say instead of going to LSU, he might want to take a job. Maybe he want to be the offensive coordinator and help Jaden Daniels because Kingsbury,
that's right.
His position is open. So it's a lot.
Well, I don't see Lane Kiffin going as a coordinator, but
no, not Lane Kiffin. I'm talking about. I'm talking about Charlie Weiss Jr.
Oh yes.
They might say, hey, you got to help this offense beat Miami defense, who's supposed to have a lot of first rounders. They gonna beat Georgia defense.
Yeah.
Hey, let's see if you can be a head coach somewhere.
Yeah. Spot on, bro.
This has been a great segment of college football. We talked about the coaching carousel. We talked about Shedeur's game-winning drive. And lastly, the chaos going on between Ole Miss and LSU thus far. This is In Between the Lines. Y'all make sure to like, comment your reactions, your teams that's playing in the NFL this week for the playoffs. and be sure to subscribe. We out.
Peace.